a researcher in FIRST. You would know that, Furman Institute of Research, Running and Scientific Training. So in exchange of my data to him in terms of what my mental endurance was, how did I run, what did I feel, he actually helped me customize a running plan for me. So I know that a lot of you would see me running near Aditya Bakery. You would wave at me, you would want to stop to talk to me, but I would never stop. I would just wave and just keep going. So sorry for that. It was not intentional. It was not my deliberation, but I was in a specific flow because I was preparing for mental endurance while running. So I would have just waved at you and gone. So don't feel bad about it. It was nothing personal, but it was my fault. It was my running program. Okay. So where did it begin? I need to take you back to 2011. I was in Kathmandu, en route to Kailash Manasarovar with Sadhguru Afisha Foundation. So we were all waiting for the China government to give us the permit. So we were delayed in Kathmandu. We were all sitting in one day. Sadhguru approached. He saw us all chatting. So he just called us and said, he spoke in Kannada that day. He's from Mysore. He says, "Yenukku illi kootkond time waste ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? There is something called a mountain flight, which will create a good experience for you. If you take it, they will show you around Mount Everest." So that is what he said. So we all ran, got the booking done. Next day we were in the airport. Unfortunately, the flight got cancelled due to bad weather. And the first thought that is still echoing in me was, hey, why the hell should I see Everest from a flight, but I rather see the world from the peak? So those were the first thoughts. Okay. And I guess we think a lot of things, right? But a lot of them don't stick to our mind. But I think this thought these words had that power in them, right? You know, even today it gives me goosebumps when I think about it. And probably it also had Sadhguru's blessing, I do not know. I think it got cemented very, very strongly in my subconscious mind. So at that moment when I thought about it, there's another beauty. You know, there are a lot of kids I see here who are standing. I want to tell them one thing. See, you dream big, okay? The human system is such that you can create any possibility and achieve it. However, never doubt your dreams, even for a second. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸತಿ ಅಂದರೆ, ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಪ್ಪ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡು ಥಾಟ್ ಬಂದಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಆಪೋಸಿಟ್ ಥಾಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ನೀವು ಗಮನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. You will always get another opposite thought. Hey, I want to climb Everest, but if I can't, I will do this, maybe Savandurga. Okay? So what you're telling yourself is, look, you are not capable of doing Everest, you better go and do Savandurga. You have already at the very first time told yourself, I am incapable. So whatever dreams you may have today, or whatever dreams you have been successful with, whatever dreams you have not been successful with, sit for some time and introspect on why those dreams that you dreamt became successful. Believe me, you would not have thought about a backup plan. You would not have doubted the dream. You would not have doubted your capabilities. I am a very creative person. 96 I graduated. I wanted to have a company of my own. And I thought about it and I said, hey, I want to really have a company of my own. But if I'm not successful, I'll continue to be employed. Even today I'm employed. Do you see the difference? I said, I want to climb Mount Everest, full stop. There was no second thought, there was no second doubt, no doubt about my capabilities. And it took a long time. Some dreams take long time. And spiritually they also say, right, some dreams take lifetimes. Right? But what happens for especially younger kids is, they will always look at the result. ಇವತ್ತು ಡ್ರೀಮ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾಡೋದು ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಬರಬೇಕು, ಆ ಥರ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ದ ಜರ್ನಿ, ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಮಿ ಯೆಸ್ಟರ್ಡೇ, ವಾಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್, ದ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಜರ್ನಿ? ಐ ಸೆಡ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ತ್ರೀ, ದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್, ದ ಜರ್ನಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್. But the result was 11 years. So that was the first thought. It got cemented. Finished Manasarovar, came back, forgot about it. But as I told you, right, if a dream is strong, it will start working from day one, subconsciously. So I started building my skill sets, professional skill sets, I took a job change. I started earning better, started working hard. The whole point was I had to make money for my trip. And before that, I had to make money for my retirement. I had to make money for my kids' education. So I started working very hard, grew up in my position, and this again was probably the effect of the dream taking its action every day. So I do remember from 2011, actions have been very, very consistent. I didn't know at that time. I didn't even know till I went to base camp that I would be doing Everest this year. There was no plan. I was supposed to do Everest next year when I turned 50. This year I went to do another mountain called Lhotse. But things changed, I'll come to that later. So started working hard, built substantial savings. And 2018 I realized that yes, I do have some funds now, I can manage. Now I need to focus on my health. 2018 I do know Tanuja and all, we used to go to the Apple gym here. I was like super fat, 95 kgs. For my height, that is overweight. Okay. So I had multiple options, take some supplements and drop the weight in 3 months and then be happy and then again regain weight, take supplements, drop, right? I could have done that sine wave, go up and down. But I decided that I will do a natural shed of weight. So I used to do a lot of gymming, my diet moderated well, started doing a lot of meditation, because mountaineering, in my experience, 70% is this. 30% is equally important, that physical strength, but this becomes key. So 2 years of practicing meditation, practicing some kriyas that Sadhguru had taught us. And by 2019, I was in my ideal, if there is something called theoretical weight, I was there. So I'm 165 centimeters, minus 100 is the most theoretical, medically proven weight. So I became 65. I oscillate between 65 and 68, but I don't go beyond. And I don't do any effort for that, right? If it goes to 68, the body automatically starts giving me messages. The mind starts adjusting, right? So it gets back. So currently I am 60 because I lost 9 kgs during the push, because every day you lose 1.5 kgs because you are climbing like this at a 75-80 degree altitude, ascent, inclination, and you're eating 200-300 calories. So literally, if you burn 7,000 cal, you're losing 1 kg. So I was burning around 10,000, 11,000 every day per climb. So when I came back, my wife was shocked to see me at the airport. I'm a little bit better today. I put on 2 kgs. She was like, who is this, 10th standard guy? It was a compliment, but I felt very weak. So, and my body is still not reacclimatized. It still thinks it's at that altitude. It is unable to get back soon. It will take me another 10-15 days. So mental strength became key. And 2019 was a lot of preparations in terms of breathing, right? How do you breathe? It's just not, right? The breathing there becomes totally different, because the concentration of oxygen at death zone is 30%. And your SpO2 drops to 70 to 75 there, right? And when you're at the peak, your SpO2 is 70. Here, a lot of people die, okay? And that is something that you need to practice. So for 1 year, I have worked on building my cardiovascular strength. Okay, a lot of breathing techniques. Then I joined the group, started running. It was not about marathon. Initially I used to join the group. That's how I know a lot of people. I just got the rhythm of it, right? And corrected my running technique. I used to get knee pain. So got rid of shoes, did barefoot running. And then the first program came into picture. So in exchange of my data to that research institution, I got a lot of support in terms of how do you tune your runs to build your mental endurance. So I used to tell you, right, something used to be happening. The awareness while running used to be like super duper high. I would know at which step my body is aching. Okay? And at that point, what was my breathing technique? This is what I had to exchange. So I did go to Spiti. I selected a expedition company and a team that had just very young people, 24, 25 years, right? So I went with them just to check where do I stand in front of them, right? When they are trekking, when they are running, when they are climbing, right? And I really felt I was in par, okay, or better. So I did that, came back, then started applying for admissions to some of the best mountaineering institutions are in India, some of the best. So I started approaching them. They said, you're old, you're 35, the cutoff is 35, in some institutions the cutoff is 40. So eventually, even the Human Resource Ministry, after writing to them, they said no, okay? And that is something that I'll work on moving forward, because they should have some exception or a flexibility, right? So that is something that I'll be working in the coming days. So admission rejected, to answer your question. That didn't stop my determination. I said, there will be some way out. And again, when you're ready, somebody comes. A friend of mine introduced me to a expedition company owner in Nepal. His name was Lakpa Sherpa. Sherpa is a community, you would have heard about it. Tonseng, Norway is a Sherpa. They are the climbers. They are the ones who take you. Without them, there is no mountaineering. There is no Everest. So he came into my life. He owns a company called 8K Expeditions in Nepal. So I spoke to him, and instead of telling me, oh, you can do this, you can do that, come with me, you pay this much, we'll do. He actually touched my ego. Why the hell do you want to do it? You're too old, right? You shouldn't be doing, you should be spending your money for something else. And that's when I realized he is a mentor, because a mentor is one who touches your ego. Before he takes you into mentorship, he touches your ego, right? Touches your pain points where you get angry, because he wants you to grow. That's how a mentor brings you up. Okay, so I said, boss, you are my guru. Okay, I'm just coming to Nepal, I'm learning with you. So I went to Nepal in September, learned all the possible skills in the mountains, in a live environment, under the leadership of a very, very great guy who has done Everest, I think, 10 times, K2 in winter, right? So this guy taught me probably 2 to 3 years of experience within 15-20 days. Because it was not teaching, it was going to the mountain, falling, getting angry, right? And then stepping back. Okay, what mistake did I do? Continue, okay? And I did Labuche. Labuche is a 6,200 meter peak. That was my first climb ever in my life, wearing that big suit and everything. Then he also took me to another expedition called Imlang. That is a 7,136 meters peak, one of the most challenging. No Indian has climbed it because it's very uncertain. And he wanted me to attempt that because he wanted to test what my ability to take actions if something goes wrong or if something has to happen at that altitude. So we went there. Unfortunately, we didn't get a good weather window. It was only for one day. I will explain what a weather window is. So we started, and at very pleasant weather. We were so happy. I could see the peak, probably, I think 136 meters away from the peak. The wind speeds suddenly started increasing, 40, 50 kilometers per hour. The temperature just dropped to minus 40. And within a few seconds, even before I could realize what was happening, the mind suddenly took the buff off to take off the ice that had formed on my beard. And by the time I could put my buff back, I couldn't feel my nose. I had something called a 2nd degree frostbite, which means your nose can fall off at any time. So I still have that mark under my nose. This entire part was like dead skin. So I had to be evacuated. I came back to Kathmandu. The doctor said probably 1 week we will have to get it off and then graft it. Fortunately, I think the body and the mind worked together, and I never doubted it. I was not afraid. Nose gone, but Everest is still there, right? So, but I was worried about, what my wife would think. I had a marriage to attend. Previously I would have thought, hey, Madhve ide, ಹೆಂಗ್ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿ, none of those thoughts came. They became just irrelevant, I would say. That training helped me that way, right? It made me focus more towards Everest and make everything else relevant. Am I taking too much time? Are we okay? So, fortunately, the nose healed within a week, and it's still healing. I still get some, when I'm up there, I still get some sensations that I don't have the nose, but it's fine. And that helped me a lot. Came back to Bangalore, then started working on extreme weight training. I used to wear a vest of 15 kgs and run with it, then do gymming with it. I used to wear a oxygen constrained mask and run around invisibly because people would see and say, hey, what the heck is he doing with that, right? Probably would have, some of you might have seen, but I was invisible most of the time when I was wearing that. That I was putting because to simulate the environment up there, right? And to build my, or to teach my lungs and heart how to breathe. And the weight I used to wear, because even though you're carrying around 5 kgs max in your backpack, which is 4 kgs of oxygen cylinder and a few other things, and 750 grams is the weight of your bag itself, and another 250 grams of small things. As you go up, the gravity starts pulling you back. The back starts weighing like an elephant, literally. It increases by 3 to 4 times. So I had to basically get used to that. So I used to practice with a 15 kg vest, run with it, do all the gymming with it. So that helped a lot. The next step was for me to improve my upper body and lower body coordination. Because when you're climbing, I've seen most of the climbers just use the feet and rise, and they very quickly get the leg pain. And some only use the shoulders. So my mentor told me, you need to learn the coordination because you're using your legs too much and you're burning out energy. So I did a lot of rock climbing, ice climbing in Leh, did wall climbing in Kathmandu, because these are best for improving your body coordination. So that's what I did. And that was in February. Then February end, I saw a wonderful article about a guy called Suresh Babu from Sikandrabad who had trekked from Lukla. Lukla is the entry point to your trek to EBC. So he did that Lukla to EBC trek one way in 4 days. So I thought, great, maybe I should try it for 3 days, right? Just to see where I stand, right? He was probably 25, 28 years old. So I said, let me go back to Nepal. And once I reached Nepal, I said, why 3 days? Why can't I do it in less than 30 hours? That was the next thought process. And then I said, okay, let's give it a push. So I took a guide, and I took a guy who was 23 years old. Last year he had done Everest twice in a week. Super fast guy. He literally runs. So I told my company to give him as my guide. So I took him. We left Lukla at 5 a.m. on the 6th of March, and we reached EBC on the 7th of March, 5:03 a.m. So 24 hours, 3 minutes. So it was not 3 days. So it was not 3 days, it was not 30 hours, it became 24 hours, 3 minutes. I had put it in my social media, but I didn't publish it because I wanted to finish Everest, come back, and I love to be called as a mountaineer rather than a trekker. So I didn't publish it. But the record is there. And there I realized I was absolutely fit. Okay, no turning back. So Everest was decided for next year. I would do Lhotse this year. Lhotse is the neighbor of Everest at 8,556 meters. The 4th largest peak, extremely difficult to climb. So I prepared for Lhotse. My wife knew, some of my friends knew it was Lhotse. They didn't know Everest. Even I didn't know Everest this year. So I went to base camp. My wife and daughter came with me. So we did a small trek to Namche Bazaar. Then I made a mistake of flying with them to EBC. And I made a mistake of not coming back. I stayed there. That was my mistake. So what happened after 3 days of staying there at EBC is my lungs started accumulating water. I had something called HAPE, high altitude pulmonary edema. I think the doctors will be able to explain it better. But that happens because your lungs are under so much of pressure a lot of things happen, and you start accumulating water. One night I'm sleeping, and every breathe I'm hearing the call. Next day morning I went to the medical center at the camp. The doctor said, man, your SpO2 should be 75 at this altitude. You are at 58. And it was between 58 and 62. They said, you need to fly down to Lukla and just go to an hospital. So I came down, I flew back to Lukla, got admitted in the hospital, was there in the hospital taking oxygen for 3 days. Fourth day, the doctor felt I was again fit. So again started my trek back to EBC, went back to EBC, then finished my first rotation. A rotation is an acclimatization climb. You go all the way up to 7,100 meters, okay, over a specified number of days, 1 day, 2 days. So this rotation is usually 6 to 7 days. So we did this rotation in 6 days. And when I went to Camp 1, I just took a photo with the Save Soil. You know the Save Soil movement, right? Very popular, Sadhgurus. So I took a photo of Save Soil thing, and tuck came an idea. Man, Sadhguru is taking the flag horizontally. Why shouldn't I take it vertically to the top of the world? Right? So that got cemented, and I said, I'm doing Everest this time. And when I told this when I did a satellite phone to my guide, and he said, Dai, they call me Dai. Dai is elder brother in Nepali. Dai, good decision, because this time the weather window is amazing. Right? You're getting a 12-day weather window. Okay, so the opportunity came. A lot of people say, oh, you were lucky. You were lucky because of the weather. Yeah, I was. Yeah. So I say, luck is equal to your preparedness, and when opportunity comes, you need to grab it. If you're able to do that, yes, you can call yourself lucky. Luck is not this. So I was ready, preparing to go. The opportunity came, and I never let go of that opportunity. Next year, I do not know, right? So I finished the rotation, came back, and I didn't have a Everest permit. But Lhotse permit I had. And to go to Lhotse and Everest, it's the same route. At Camp 4, you divert. Left goes to Everest, right goes to Lhotse. So I decided, okay, let me go down and take the permit to Everest, which I did. I came back to Kathmandu, issued a new permit, went back with the intention of doing both the summits in one expedition. Okay, I would have been probably the fastest Indian at my age to do these two, but I didn't. I didn't for the right reason. I didn't do it for the right reason. Okay, so came down. So weather window. The wind speeds on top of Everest is usually 300 kilometers per hour, 260 to 300 kilometers per hour. You cannot summit Everest at any point of time. Even if you go after me and look at Everest, there is a cloud cover on the peak. That is not cloud. It's actually the wind brushing away the snow. Okay. Some magic happens in May. Every year. This year also it happened. You would know the Bay of Bengal cyclone. It was a little bit intense this year. Bangalore got affected. So this is the magic. The cyclone starts another opposite wind stream, which raises up, goes up all the way to Everest and neutralizes that. When that neutralization happens, the wind becomes 15 to 20 kilometers per hour. Some days, some lucky ones, were there at 0 kilometer wind speed. You would have seen some videos of people holding the flag not even shaking. Right? That happens. So this year when we submitted, the weather was great, so everything went well. So I decided with my guide that I will do the summit on 16th of May, which is Buddha Purnami. It would have been a very special moment. The weather was looking great. On the 10th we decided Buddha Purnami it is. 15th we will walk through the full moon night. Beautiful scenery setting, right? It was all coming up together. 11th evening we got to know that 16th will be snowy, so we will have to push one day forward. That means I had to push faster by a day. So 11th we decided we are going to push today. 12th early morning at 2 we left the base camp. We reached camp 2 by afternoon on the same day. We slept in camp 2. May 13th, we went to Camp 3, slept in Camp 3. From Camp 3 to Camp 4, the death zone starts. Death zone is where there is literally very less oxygen. You need to start wearing the mask, oxygen. So started using the mask. For the first time, it was lousy, very bad. I thought I can do much better without oxygen, but you need oxygen because it is aerobic energy. It's just not for your oxygen, right? It's aerobic energy because you're not eating much. You can't eat much. You remove the gloves, you get a frostbite, okay? So 14th of May, we reached the final camp. It's called the Camp 4. We ate something, we slept. 8 p.m. on 14th, we woke up, started the summit push. And the 15th May at 8:04, I reached Everest. So, this was the journey in brief. First, the thoughts were gratitude to my Sherpa, was there with me, who led me to this journey. The second thought was of my family, my wife Divya, my kids, because without their support, not possible, okay? And they tell me, oh, you're brave, but I say my wife is much braver than me because it's not easy to let you go without knowing there's a 100% that you will come back, right? And that needs a lot of things. And I had not told about this plan to lot many people because I wanted to be surrounded by people who could only share positivity with me. My mother did not know. My mother only knew about my Everest after I came back to Bangalore. ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀಯೋ 50 ವರ್ಷ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಬಂದಿದೆ, ಹೆಂಡತಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನಾನಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ನನಗೆ ವಯಸ್ಸಾಗಿದೆ, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ ದೆಮ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅದರ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀಯಾ, ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಬಿಡು ನಿನ್ನ ಕೈಲಿ. ಸೊ ಐ ಡಿಂಟ್ ವಾಂಟೆಡ್ ಟು ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಎ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಪೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನೆಗೆಟಿವಿಟಿ ವೆನ್ ಐ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್. And even when I was suffering with ache, I never thought, what agala Everest. I said, okay, this is what I will do. Worst case situation, I'm coming back again next year. Otherwise, the next following year. There was never a single doubt that I am now medically ill and I cannot do it. So, and somebody wanted me to tell about the dead bodies that had emerged. Sarita is here. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನ ತೀರ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲೈಂಬರ್ಸ್ ತೀರ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಬಾಡಿ ರಿಕವರ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಇನ್ನು ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಸುಮಾರು ಬಾಡೀಸು ಸ್ನೋವಲ್ಲಿ ಕವರ್ ಆಗೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಈ ವರ್ಷ ನಮ್ಮ ಅದೃಷ್ಟ ಅನ್ಬೋದೋ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನಾದೃಷ್ಟ ಅನ್ಬೋದೋ, 2 ದೇಹಗಳು ಉದ್ಭವ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಸ್ನೋ ಮೆಲ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟು, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಬಿಸಿಲು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ 2 ದೇಹಗಳು ಉದ್ಭವ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಒಂದು ಇಲರಿ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಹತ್ರ. ಇಲರಿ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದ UPSC ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ ಅಂತಾರಲ್ಲ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಅಡ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಸಿಗೋ ಮುಂಚೆ ಒಂದು ದ ಎವರೆಸ್ಟ್, ಎವ್ರಿ ಮೌಂಟೇನ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಗಾಟ್ ಎನ್ ಎಂಟ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್. ಒಬ್ಬೊಬ್ರು ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಓ ಎವರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ಯಾ, ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಈಸಿ ಅಂತ. ನಾಳೆ ಸಾವಂದುರ್ಗ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ದಿರಾ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಆವತ್ತಿನ ಚಾಲೆಂಜಸ್ಸು, ಆವತ್ತಿನ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ, ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲರಿ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ಪು ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಟಫೆಸ್ಟ್, ಅದು ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಕ್ವಿಟ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಜನ. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನ ನಾನು ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಈ ವರ್ಷನೂ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೋ ಅಪ್ ಟು ಇಲರಿ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕ್ಲೈಮ್. ಇಲರಿ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ಪಿಂದ 70 ಮೀಟರ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಸಮಿಟ್ಟು, ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ವಾಪಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಷ್ಟು ಕಷ್ಟ ಇದೆ ಆ ಇಲರಿ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಡಿ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ, ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲೇ ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಾ, 1 ಅಡಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಗ್ಯಾಪು. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ದ ಬಾಡಿ ಆಫ್ ಎನ್ ಅಮೆರಿಕನ್ ಹೂ ಡೈಡ್ 14 years ಬ್ಯಾಕ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕವರ್ಡ್ ಹಿಸ್ ಫೇಸ್ ವಿತ್ ದಟ್ ಇದು. ಬಟ್ ಅವನು ದೇಹದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿರೋ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಡೌನ್ ಸೂಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅರ್ಧೋಗಿದೆ. ಅದರೊಳಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಅವನ ಸ್ಕಿನ್ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ, ಇಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸ್ಕಿನ್, ಇವತ್ತಿಗೂ ಇಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸ್ಕಿನ್. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಮೊದಲೇ ಇದು ಹುಚ್ಚಿಡ್ದುಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಆಲ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಡಲ್ಲಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ, ಇದು ಹುಚ್ಚಿಡ್ದುಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮೈಂಡು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು, ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 100 ಥಾಟ್ಸ್ ಬಂದರೆ ನಮಗೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟು 1000-2000 ಥಾಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಆಯಿತಾ. ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಫಾರ್ಚುನೇಟ್, ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಆ ಒಂದು 100 ಥಾಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 10 ಥಾಟ್ಸ್ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ 1000 ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್. ಹಿಂಗೆ ಕಾಲು ನೋವ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ದೇಹ ನೋಡಿದೆ, ನಿನಗೆ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಳು ಕಾಯ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರು ನೋಡಬೇಕು, ಅವ್ರ ಮದುವೆ ನೋಡಬೇಕು, ಫುಲ್ಲು ನೆಗೆಟಿವಿಟಿ. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನು ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಾ. ಮತ್ತು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕ್ರೆವೆಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಹೆಣ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡಿದೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಯಾರೋ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡಲ್ಲಿ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ನೀವು. ಈ ಎರಡು ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ಸು ನನಗೆ ಒಂಥರ ಹೆಜ್ಜೆ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಕಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಡಲಿಲ್ಲ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೇರ್ ದಟ್ ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್ ಕೇಮ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮೇಗಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಒಂದು ಟಿಯರ್ ಬಂತು ಮೇಗಡೆ ಹೋದ್ಮೇಲೆ. ಇಟ್ ವೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ದಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಮಾಸ್ಕ್. ಐ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಎ ಲವ್ಲಿ ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್. ಮತ್ತು ಯಾರೋ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಪುಣ್ಯಾತೊಬ್ಬರು ಮೇಗಡೆ ಒಂದು ಬುದ್ಧ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಚ್ಯೂ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದ್ರದ್ದು ಏನು ಇದೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ 300 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ದಿನ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ, ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ತಾಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದು ಇನ್ನೂ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಅದು ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಒಂಥರ ಅದ್ಭುತ. ಅದಾದ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ತಲೆಗೆ ಬಂತು, ಓ ನೌ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಟಾಪ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್, ಲೆಟ್ ಮೀ ಸೆಲೆಬ್ರೇಟ್ ಅಂತ. 35 minutes I was in the peak. Lovely day. You would have seen some pictures Instagram ಅಲ್ಲಿ. The most bluest sky that you can find on Everest, I was able to witness it. So ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ I cannot ask God anything for beyond this. So thanks a lot. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಬೇಕು ತಗೋತೀನಿ. ತುಂಬ ಸರ್, ನಿಮಗೆ ಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ. ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬರೀ ಸರ್ವಿಸಸ್ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ, ಆರ್ಮಿ ನೇವಿ ಇವ್ರನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ. 520 ಜನ ಸಬ್ಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾಯಿಂದ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 30 ಜನ ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡಿಂಗ್ ಮೀ ಆರ್ ಸಿವಿಲಿಯನ್ಸ್. ಈ 30 ಜನದಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿರೋದು 5 ಜನಕ್ಕೆ. ನಾನು ಒಂದೆರಡು ಕಡೆ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ನಿನ್ಗೆ ವಯಸ್ಸಾಗಿದೆ ಹತ್ತಕ್ಕಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ರು. ಸೊ ಐ ವಾಸ್ ಓಕೆ ವಿತ್ ದಟ್. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಿವ್. ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಡಿಷನ್ ಅಲೋನ್, ನಾನು ಬರೀ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಡಿಷನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ 25 ಲಕ್ಷ ಬೇಕು. 84-year Japanese person has climbed, so he has been a big inspiration. Japanese are, even the oldest is the youngest person ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಅಷ್ಟು ಫಿಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದೇರ್ ಫುಡ್, ದೇರ್ ಎನ್ವಿರಾನ್ಮೆಂಟ್. 84 years old person. I already gave in the beginning, so never doubt your dream, never doubt your capabilities, and be patient. Things will happen. If your dream is strong, things will happen. There is absolutely no doubts about it. But if you really want quick effects, don't dream. Won't happen. Everest I will not, but I want to complete my journey of going back to Lhotse. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಯಾತಕ್ಕೆ ಲೋಡ್ಸೆ ಈ ಸತಿ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ, ಟ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ ಜಾಮ್ಸ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಹೋಗ್ತಾ 2 ಗಂಟೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ತೊಗೊಂಡ್ವಿ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಟ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ ಜಾಮ್. ಬರ್ತಾ 2 ಗಂಟೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯಿತು. ಮತ್ತು ನಾವು ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ತಿರ್ಗಾ ಬೇಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಂಪ್ 4ಗೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ವಿ ಸೆಡ್ ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ 8 hours ಫಾರ್ ಮೀ ಟು ರಿಕವರ್. ಸೊ ಸೇಫ್ಟಿ ಬಿಕೇಮ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಐ ಸೆಡ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಡೂ ಇಟ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್. ಸರ್, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಶರ್ಪಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ನಿಮಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಂಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ಸೌತ್ ಪೋಲಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗೋದು ಬೇಡ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಕಾಲು ಉಳ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೇನೇನು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಸ್ಪ್ರೇನ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ದೇ ಕೆ ನಾಟ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಯು ಡೌನ್. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಹೆಲಿಕಾಪ್ಟರ್ಲಿಂದ ತನಕ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಹೆಲಿಕಾಪ್ಟರ್ ಬರೋದು ಬರೀ 7100 meters ಮಾತ್ರ. ಮತ್ತು ಅದನ್ನು ರೋಪ್ ರೆಸ್ಕ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದು ತುಂಬಾ ಡೇಂಜರಸ್ಸು ರೋಪ್ ರೆಸ್ಕ್ಯೂ ಆ ಆಲ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಡಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಷ್ಟ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಶರ್ಪಾಸ್, ನಾನು ಒಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಬಿಗ್ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ದ ಶರ್ಪಾ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಬಿಟೆಡ್ ದಟ್ ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗಿವ್ ಯುವರ್ ಲೈಫ್, ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗಿವ್ ದೇರ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯು. ಫಿಸಿಕಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನನ ಒತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ಸತಿನೂ ನಾನು ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಒತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ನೀವು ಫಿಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ಹೋಗಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ಸ್ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಳಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ, ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಪುಟಿಂಗ್ ಯುವರ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಎಟ್ ರಿಸ್ಕ್, ಬಟ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಪುಟಿಂಗ್ ಎ ಹೋಲ್ ಅದರ್ ಈಕೋಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ಸ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ರಿಸ್ಕ್. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿರೋದು ಒಂದೇ ರೋಪು, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 2 ರೋಡ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹತ್ತೋದು ಅದೇ ರೋಪು, ಇಳಿಯೋದು ಅದೇ ರೋಪಲ್ಲೇ. ಸೊ ನೀವು ಹತ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀರಾ, ಮುಂದೆಯಿಂದ ಒಬ್ಬ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ನೀವು ತೆಗೆದುಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಹೋಗೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಫಸ್ಟು ನೀವು ಲಾಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ರೋಪಿಗೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇದನ್ನು ತೆಗಿಬೇಕು, ಇನ್ನೊಂದನ್ನು ಹಾಕೋಬೇಕು. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಟೈಮ್ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಇದು. ಮತ್ತು ಆ ಗ್ಲೌಸ್ ಹಾಕ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂಗು ನೆವೆ ಬಂದರೆ ಕೆರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಯು ಫರ್ಗೆಟ್ ಚೇಂಜಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ ದೋಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ನಾನು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸೂಟ್ ಹಾಕ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ವೆಯ್ಟು ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲ, 1 kg ಅಷ್ಟೇ ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಅದು, ದಟ್ ಬಿಗ್ ಸೂಟ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಯು ವಿತ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ -40 degrees ಟೆಂಪ್ರೇಚರ್. ಓಕೆ, 1 kg ಇಲ್ಲ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ, ಅದು 750-800 grams ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇರೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಬೆಚ್ಚಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಯು ಲೂಸ್ ಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ. ಹಿಂಗೆ ಅನ್ನೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಗ್ಲೌಸ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಗ್ಲೌಸ್ ಬಿಚ್ಚಿದ್ರೆ ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್ ಬೈಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಗ್ಲೌಸ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡೇ ಇರಬೇಕು.
ಸರ್, ನೀವು ಹೇಪ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ, ಬೇಸ್ ಬಂದರೆ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ತುಂಬ ಫಾಲ್ಟಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ.